Outdated consumer laws could mean travellers grounded due to COVID-19 are stuck with thousands of dollars in airline credits they may never get to use. Checkpoint's been inundated with correspondence from customers booked to fly with Air New Zealand. But the coronavirus pandemic means their flights have either been cancelled or they can't make the trips due to border controls and isolation requirements. They want refunds, but say Air New Zealand is only offering them credits that are of limited use. So what exactly are their rights and your rights if you've got a trip booked and it's gone belly up? Well, Jessica Wilson is the head of research at Consumer New Zealand and joins us now. Good evening, Jessica. Generally speaking, if you've booked an airline ticket and the pandemic means, well, it's pretty much utterly impractical to take that trip, are you entitled to get your money back?
Unfortunately, our consumer laws here are not as strong as they should be, and consumers don't have an automatic right to a refund in these situations. We've been pushing for that to change. The situation is at the moment is that you're basically dependent on what the airline's terms and conditions say regarding cancelled flights. So in most cases, airlines are providing credits and not refunds.
To be clear, if they cancel the flight, are you in a better position or just exactly the same position?
Yeah, look, where the airline is at fault, where it's something to do with their staffing or the plane that they've had to ground it, then they have to cough up, they have to refund you. But in situations where the airline isn't at fault and the flight can't leave the tarmac because of reasons such as a global pandemic, then the airline isn't responsible for financial losses in that case.
So it's your view at Consumer NZ that our laws around this aren't fit for purpose at the moment?
That is right, and it's something we've been pushing for some time. If you compare the situation, for example, in the EU or the US, customers there have an automatic right to a refund regardless of the reason the flight's cancelled. Not the same here. We think it should be, and we've been asking for the law to be changed. So consumers aren't stuck in this situation where they're basically out of pocket in some situations by thousands of dollars.
So when was it last reviewed in respect of aviation sector airline tickets?
Oh, many decades ago. There has been a review of the Civil Aviation Act recently that unfortunately hasn't seen significant changes in terms of consumer rights. So obviously the situation we're in now has provided ample evidence of the need to revamp our laws, and we'll be making that case again to the Minister of Commerce and Consumer Affairs.
We have been utterly inundated with feedback and correspondence about this, and a lot of people say that their purchase, their airline tickets, have automatically been converted into a credit by Air New Zealand. So there is no if, buts or maybes. Air New Zealand is in the right in terms of their ability to do that.
Yeah, look, there are a few exceptions. The exceptions would be if you actually did buy a fully flexible fare that entitles you to a refund. In that case, the airline should reimburse you, no questions asked. In other situations, if it was a standard fare, you will be reliant on their terms and conditions, and those terms and conditions typically say in these situations where the airline isn't at fault, you will only get a credit.
In terms of the credits, people are also raising the issue of the duration of the credit. Air New Zealand says it's pushed out the period of time you can maintain the credit until I think it's June 2021. So you've got a book in between that time. But a number of customers have got in touch to say the airline is operating a much reduced schedule, and in fact most flights, you can't even see the flights that will be available in that booking period as yet. So is there any flexibility around the credit and the terms of the credit?
Yeah, well, look, Air New Zealand will have to definitely look at this. At the moment, consumers are in the situation where you're right, they can't make definitive travel plans because so many things are unknown. We don't know if and when flights will resume, not just here but internationally as well. So consumers really can't make plans. Air New Zealand will have to take that into account, and it will have to extend those timeframes again if the situation we're in drags on. It's the right thing to do. It really has to do right by its customers in this case, not just rely on the fine print in its terms and conditions. It needs to play fair, really.
So a number again of listeners have raised this term frustrated contract, where they say both parties are unable to meet the conditions of the contract, and should they not just part company and get a refund? Is any of that ringing a bell with you?
Yeah, look, there is in legal terms something called a frustrated contract. The fly in the ointment here is that legislation actually doesn't, it exempts airlines from providing refunds in this situation. So because there is sort of a legal basis for the position airlines are taking, it would be pretty difficult, we think, to mount a case for frustrated contracts in this situation.
Wow, it sounds like people are in an absolutely tight bind, and some of them are financially in a tight bind. They're saying that, they actually need the money back. People have lost jobs. In the meantime, the prospect of overseas travel in the next 18 months to 2 years isn't on their radar because their own financial positions have changed here. So we've got a Prime Minister who's asking people to be kind, asking landlords to be flexible, for employers to be flexible. You touched on this before, but do you think there's a moral or ethical obligation for Air New Zealand to be more flexible here?
Absolutely. Look, we have said since the start of this that airlines should be doing the right thing. They should be offering refunds to customers where flights have been cancelled because of COVID-19. It's the right thing to do, regardless of what their terms and conditions say or what the law says. Be fair, that's what we're saying.
Have you had many inquiries about this?
We have indeed, yes. We've been pretty busy answering inquiries about cancelled flights, cancelled accommodation. It has been a big issue for our consumer advisors.
The other thing that we've had some questions about are insurance, and some of these people are older travellers, so their insurance is huge, in the thousands. And one woman has a trip that's been cancelled. She's got an insurance policy, haven't obviously left the shore, and the insurance company is not playing ball in terms of refunding that. What is the position there? Yeah,
look, that is pretty outrageous behaviour. Travel insurance policies do vary. Some of them do provide a right to a refund where you're not going on the trip and need to cancel your policy. And in fact, there's no reason for a travel company to hold on to that money because it's not covering any risk. If you're not flying, you're not leaving the country, there's no liability for it and no risk for it to cover. So really, insisting that it has the right to retain your premium is totally unfair.
Has Consumer New Zealand had any kind of response to trying to get this back on the table, these law changes?
Well, not yet, no, because Parliament's not sitting at the moment.
Of course,
we haven't been able to progress things, but certainly when we're able to, we will be putting this in front of the Minister and hoping to see some changes.
Really appreciate your time. That's Jessica Wilson, who's the Head of Research at Consumer New Zealand.